Evening, everybody. It is 5:30 on. It's 5:30 on July 11th. We'll call the City of Clovis's largest tax meeting to order. We'll start with a roll call. Will the clerk please call roll?
Freddie Bryant,
Here.
Gail Tarson,
Here.
Thomas Martin,
Here.
Stephen Rodriguez,
Here.
Tasha Padilla,
Here.
and Commissioner Garza.
Here.
Approval of minutes from the last meeting, which was on May 9th. Glance them over. I know we all read them before the meeting.
Did I approve? I moved to approve.
Gail, first motion by Gail. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Oh, Freddie beat you
Both of
to
us.
it. Freddie has the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. We will, with a new process, we've reviewed your applications. We're going to review them now in the order that they were received. But before we start, we're going to talk money. Mr. Holwalt?
Certainly, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. So it obviously is a new fiscal year, so it's going to feel like you just have tons of money out there to be able to delve out, and you're going to be Santa Claus. However, we try to obviously restrict you back and give you some good guidance on how much allocations that are available to you each month. So we ended FY23 with a cash balance of a little over $300,000. That did not include the carryover amounts, and so we carried over about $180,650. So by the time you reduce that amount, there's about $120,000 available on top of what we're projecting in revenues this coming fiscal year. You'll notice on the spreadsheet there's already a reversion of $6,650. And that's the funding that the City of Clovis and the Curry County and the Chamber of Commerce partnered on for the New Mexico True campaign. Unfortunately, the portion that the Chamber of Commerce had applied for as part of that application, they did not receive. And so that funding, of course, will go back into the money that's available for allocation to other projects if you so choose. Then when we start looking at fiscal year 24, we're budgeting a total of $725,000 in projected revenues in total lodgers tax. Not all of that, of course, is available for the promotional, which is what you guys are responsible for allocating. And so when you apply the formula that is dictated to us by the state of New Mexico, that'll generate about $290,000 in promotional funds for this upcoming fiscal year. So when you put the available from carryover from last year that was available plus that, there's a total of about $416,000 to be distributed this fiscal year based on our projected revenues coming into the fund. The way that breaks down is about $69,000 on monthly, if you so chose to divide that equally amongst the 6 meetings that we have throughout the fiscal year. This evening, based off the total allocate or requested amounts, there's $134,990 worth of requested funding in this meeting alone. If you were to allocate 100% of those funds this evening, that would leave you with $281,000 for the remaining 5 meetings, or about $56,000 a piece for each one of those meetings. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Board, any questions?
No.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Holwalt. Thanks for the numbers. All right, let's get started. So the first applicant, Angie Moore, she was the CBT Barrel Racing. She came in and applied early, and then we rolled her forward because of funding from last year. So we've already reviewed her, so we're going to move on to the second application, which is the event coordinator, which I think we rolled over from last meeting.
Correct.
So Ernie or Kim, you're up.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and Lodgers Tax Board. So we're here to ask for funding for the annual request of the Curry County Curry County Chambers Event Coordinator. So, Kim's on staff with us, but she does do a whole multitude of events that are not just chamber events. And so I think it's something that we've done like over 20 years or so with the Lodgers Tax Board funding partially funding a position with the chamber. So anyway, you've got our packet here, and so I just want to point out that, let's see, I'm going to go to the last page or last couple of pages and just talk about just the overall scope of the position that we have. So the event coordinator promotes promotion for Clovis, and that we do that through professional tourism. So not only does Kim serve as the event coordinator, but she also, as you all know, is a master in graphic design too. So in the past, we have had 2 different people do that in the chamber, and so got Kim doing both positions, and so she's able to do promotional flyers, posters, banners, and all of the things in-house as part of the event coordinator. So we have that, and so we, as you know, I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but we do a lot of the planning and development of the local community events, and Kim's also very instrumental, and she's very well connected, so she's able to raise money for the events as well. And so we have listed all the ones that are events that are overall community events at the bottom. So Clovis Music Festival, Pioneer Days Rodeo, and associated events. So we work with Mounted Patrol and with the Curry County Event Center on that. Dragon Main has been huge, and Kim has played a big role in that. It's continuing to be part of the team. And we also have done Mayor's Ball. I think Kim was at a meeting today for Wings on Wheels. And then American Legion and VFW conference, when we had the retired teachers conference, and then we have upcoming the Back to School Expo. And in addition to that, we have things that are on our docket for next year and starting to plan. And so we have met with people that are wanting to do, well, we have a mural festival that we're hoping to do with local artists, kind of a spinoff of what they do in Amarillo and other communities. And so we also have dodgeball tournament. We're trying to get involved with an event relating to pickleball, skeet shooting, and then all of us will be part of the team, the logistics team for the New Mexico Municipal League Conference next year. So we have a couple of other regional conferences that will recruit here, and then I think the year after we're already trying to get the one that will be the ones that will come from the senior center when they have their conference here, that, the aging conference or something like that. So we're, when they were here to break ground, I thought, well, this will be perfect. We can recruit them here for the conference when we open the senior center, but they're not going to open until, they won't be ready this year. So we'll work on that. And so anyway, we just continue to do a lot of things. I mean, Kim does a lot of things in-house for the chamber. That's why we have our money in on it as well. But she does a lot of things that are community-wide, and most of the people here have been in her office and have asked us how to do it. Kim even did somebody else's application I think they're here. I don't see, for one of them. And so we feel like she does a excellent job representing the city of Clovis and the chamber. So if you have any questions for me, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Ernie. Board?
Aging and Long-Term Services Department.
Oh, aging
Are
and
your
long-term.
mic, is your,
Yeah, what is it
The
called?
Aging and Long-Term Services
Aging and
Department.
long-term services. So we're already trying to recruit them for when we're, not this year, but next year when they, well, only reason is because we were at this year's groundbreaking, and I said, where's everybody? And they said, we're at the conference. And a lot of them were at the conference somewhere else. I said, oh, perfect. When we open this, we'll have the conference. And they said yes. So those kind of things are pending. I'm not saying that they're going to happen for sure, but we're going to do everything we can to make sure it does.
Thanks, Ernie. I think we're good.
You're good?
Yes, go home.
It's good to see you, Ernie.
Thank you.
People think I'm being sarcastic now, but she hasn't been feeling well, so that's what I'm telling her, to go home.
Next application, Joel Edwards with the Lions Club Spring Gun Knife and Coin Show.
Good evening. I want to thank y'all for letting us come before y'all to ask for money. You know, y'all helped this city out quite a bit. As you know, we're asking for $62.25, which is a lot more than we normally do, but things have gotten way up there in pricing. So everything's going good. And Ms. Gale, we did our survey again. I know you've seen it. We've changed our venue out to the event center. And I'm telling you, that was probably one of the best things we've done. Everybody was happy. We had a good showing. A lot of people showed up, and everything like that. So there's one deal on there, the promotional giveaways. We're wanting to give some chip clips and some pens and stuff like that. So there's different items that we're trying to do, if it's allowed by y'all. So any questions for the Gun and Knife Show?
Joel, thanks for keeping it short and sweet. Where's Ernie?
Yes.
Just for you, Thomas, just for
Sure.
you, okay?
No, I think we're familiar with what you've done in the
Right.
past, and we appreciate what you do. And board, any questions?
Mine's not so much a question, but just a point that I want to make
Okay.
sure gets out there. Your event is over a period of several days, and you have people, many of your people coming in from out of town. So
Yes,
you
yes.
have a really good turnout for hotel
ma'am.
stays, right?
Yes. Yeah, we have a lot of people from out of town, and some of them follow the vendors as they come. And I do know a couple of people come in from Colorado just for one item that was here at the gun show. So, I mean, there's reasons that they come. So, thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thank you.
And, yeah, anyone else? Questions? Joel, thank you for doing that.
You bet. Thank you.
When you broke down hotel count, was
Yes.
that number of, because your event is multiple nights.
3 nights. Yes.
So is that 49 times 3? Is that 49 strict single nights? Because I was looking across at,
Some of them are for 2 nights because it's Friday night and Saturday night, and then they go home Sunday. So it's a 2-night deal that they usually stay and then load up and head back home
so this 49 is the minimum
Yes,
number? Okay.
yes.
So, okay.
for a 2-night deal.
No, this is great. And I think only thing, and again, we're looking at tight financials, is there anything that you can limit from a marketing perspective? I know it's about a 50% increase from last year.
Yes. The $900 that we have for the promotional giveaways, I mean, that is something we don't have to do. It's just something for people that come through the doors to let them know that the city of Clovis is there, and everything. So, but that is something we do not have to do. On that, most everything else is nothing but advertisement, out of town, in town, out the base. The rest of that's just nothing but advertisement.
And I just wanted to mention too, something that we've heard from a lot of different folks where different events is that the money they spend on social media seems to be more effective with response rate. And
Yes.
so that might be another area where you could focus.
We have that on there.
No, I know, but it's almost equal to that of all the radio
Oh,
stations.
yes, ma'am. I see what you're saying.
Target those same locations
With the
through the
social.
social media
Okay.
for a lot less money. And I'm not trying to diss radio, but when we talk about effectiveness of getting the word out, this is just.
And
what
you are
we've
right,
seen.
social media is the way everything is going, and we're learning that as we go, and we work real close with Jeff, which y'all know, he does a lot of our stuff too. He is very, very good in letting us know where we need to be at and do that as we go along. And he has mentioned that already, to focus in more on the social media end of it.
for a lot less money than
Yeah,
it costs to
yeah.
radio, so, thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
Where is the digital billboard located at?
The one on Prince Street we used last year, I'm not sure which one Jeff's got targeted for this year, and then all the billboards that are out at the base, we done all of them out there last year, or the last gun show.
Okay.
Board, any other questions?
I do know.
Joel, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank
it.
y'all, I really do appreciate y'all, Rick.
Thanks for
Thank
doing
y'all.
what you do.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for
sir.
tallying everything. That was good info.
All right, next one, Black Pearl Earl, Large Boxing Legacy.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
How are you,
How
sir?
y'all doing?
Good.
Somebody left their glasses?
Thank you.
How y'all doing?
Good.
My name is Earl Large of the Black Pearl. And we are hosting a tournament September 16th at the Roy Walker Community Center. And we are working on getting funds to help. And we have heard about y'all, and we were interested in getting funded from the Chamber of Commerce. We are looking at a requested amount of $7,800. We will have about 30 volunteers. We do expect a very good attendance with 400 plus. And we are working on retaining hotels, trying to get specials on hotels for the officials that are coming in and also for the families and fighters. And it's a one-day event, and that's basically it.
Thank you, Mr. Large. What time will the boxing start and end?
Well, the weigh-ins will be at 8 o'clock. The fights will start at 2 o'clock, and we should be done by 8 o'clock at the latest, 8 p.m.
So weigh-ins are at 8 a.m. Will any of the fighters come from out of town come in the night before?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Definitely. Most fighters do come in the night before. Of course, there is a handful that comes in that morning. So we do want to be ready just in case, because it is a one-day event. So some people will try to make it that morning, just to cut it, and then leave that night. But we do expect a good showing Friday night, getting ready to go into Saturday morning.
Okay. Any idea at this point how many out-of-town fighters you have?
Right now, we're looking at 30 bouts, so 60 fighters.
From out of town.
Well, I'm sure we'll have our share here. We have as of our own, we have about 8 fighters from our own collaborating teams. And so that means there will be about 52 other fighters coming in from out of town.
So you are not having weigh-ins the night before? Just
No, it's always that morning.
the day of? Okay.
Yeah, professionally, it's usually held the day before, but
Okay.
amateur is held the same day.
All right. I had to ask, who came up with this Viva Mexico, Dia de la Independencia?
It just so happened when we were setting up the bouts, and it's just because of the time frame of school starting and the fear that we have here, we had to push it towards the end of August. And of course, at that time, there's other events going on at that time. So we decided to go somewhere in the middle of September, and it just happened to land perfectly on September 16th,
Okay,
which is a big holiday in boxing.
right. It's actually what the Hispanics really celebrate, the September 16th.
Yes,
It's
sir.
not Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
So that's why I say who came up with this. It's perfect.
Well, I'm from El Paso, so, I'm a part of Mexican heritage from down there, pretty much my whole life, so I know the ins and outs on that.
Yes, it just happens that all
Perfect timing for me.
all the big fights are happening always on September 16th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Gail?
Yes. So, championship belts, $2,000. How many championship belts are you awarding?
20. We're gonna have 30 belts, so I'm gonna order 20 belts and then 10 trophies. The 20 belts will go to all open fighting bouts, and then the 10 trophies left over go to the winners that are under open. Novice fighters.
Got you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And your promo shirts, are those are giveaways, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and they will have the Chamber of Commerce logo on there as well. So
And they'll have the Lodgers Tax logo. Is that what we're talking about?
yes.
Okay. Board, any other thoughts or questions? Thank you for presenting. Thanks for coming
Hey,
before us.
thank
We
you, sir.
appreciate you.
Y'all have a good one.
Next up, Desert Cruiser Car Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Lynn with Desert Cruisers Car Club. I also brought the new president, Lloyd. We're coming to you tonight with a request for some funding again for our 26th annual Desert Cruisers Rod Run and Show and Shine. This event is kind of a classic, even though we've added in some other car shows in the area. This show's been going on for 26 years. This will be our 26th one. We've went up and down in attendance through the years. Prior to COVID, we had probably the best turnout we've ever had. Then we're slowly gaining them back. Last year was a really good year as well. We got a lot of out-of-towners from last year that we have not had in the past. Not as many, I should say. We've been getting a lot more people from Lubbock, Amarillo that are staying at least one night in hotels here. It's a one-day event, but it's really a two-day because we host on Friday night a burger fry for all the entrants and things like that. Car shows, those guys get up early, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and start getting those cars out there. So most people come in the night before and stay the night, at least one night, sometimes two, depending on what else we got going on. We usually try to do tours like at the Norman Petty Studios and other things that Clovis, is known for, and people have never been to from out of town. We've already got our online registration going. We're getting people already interested, asking questions about it. We got one a couple days ago from New Hampshire. Not sure if this gentleman's military or not. It doesn't tell us any details of where it is, but that's a heck of a drive if not, to bring a Corvette, I believe is what they brought. So we're coming to you guys asking for some funding again this year. We try to be as nice as we can and not ask for too much on it. The show itself brings a lot of people from smaller towns, of course, a lot of classics that come through. Some of the people that are in that world are aging some, so we've got to do some smaller entities for small towns, things like that, to get them out. A lot of those are not necessarily just on Facebook and things like that. So we're coming to you and just asking if we can get a little bit of funding to help this event continue. They really would like to continue on making this a Clovis tradition. Desert Cruisers, I think, has been around almost 35 years overall. It's been a long time club.
Jeff, thank you. Board, questions?
Yeah, I did have one. Before you had listed that you previously received the 8,000, what, was that from last year or when was that?
That was last year, yes, ma'am. We came to the board, I believe, and asked for about the same as we are this year. Funding-wise, we cut things back quite a bit and just tried to, work with what the board had, of course, so.
So you had requested a larger amount, but that's what
We
you
had,
were
yes, ma'am.
honored.
Yes. And over the years, again, funding, everything's just getting more and more expensive when you go to buy things. And that's what we're running into. I mean, from little things to bigger things, the cost is getting higher. So we have to figure out how to pay for those things when it comes to that.
And then your digital billboard, where's that located?
It's the same one. There's actually a couple in town. The one we've been using is the one on Prince Street. It is facing to the south. I did talk to that company just a couple days ago, and they're building another one here in town, the same company as, that will face on the north very soon. So we'll have a couple different options for that. We also last year used, I believe it was in Littlefield, is where the other billboard was at. So we did a couple different ones and pulled in some people from that area as well.
So you guys also have a listing of participants from previous years.
Yes, ma'am.
So year over year, how many or what percentage are new participants? Or do you have like a standard that here's our
You know,
typicals that come every year?
We do have a group of typicals that come every year. I will tell you that in my experience on the other side of the fence that I work with, we meet a lot of new people that have never come to Clovis before. We have a lot of typicals. So I would almost say if you're looking at out-of-towners, I mean, probably 40% are people who have come in the past, and the rest are new people. Believe it or not, we get a lot of new entries that have never been to Clovis before. Once they figure out that, you know, because it is held in Hillcrest Park, the shade they love, I mean, they just feel at home when they're here, that they kind of become regulars the next year. So we really do get a lot of repeat clients as well. But like I said, COVID really hurt that end of things. And I mean, we didn't have a show for 2 years, and then it's kind of like starting all over again. And a lot of the older generation was skeptical, especially the first year, to come back out, just because, I mean, everything going on. Then they're slowly coming back to us. We did lose quite a few of them as well. I mean, due to COVID and other, you know, health issues, just because a lot of classic car guys are in that aging category, so they can afford the nice ones.
Gene
So,
Porter would argue that.
I know he would, yes. But it is, I mean, I will tell you that in my history at least, we get, they've changed up the rules. It used to be they would only allow classics, and it had to be a certain year and before, and now they've changed that up quite a bit because of that same issue. You know, a lot of the older guys that were bringing the 1934 Fords, they're not able to do that anymore, and their kids don't want to. And so we've opened it up a window and started getting a lot more of the younger generation that have the Mopars and things like that are bringing them in. The base is a great resource for that because there's a lot of younger guys too. So they're trying to recruit them into their organization to help grow, to make it continue on as generations.
So just to clarify, about 60% are new applicants.
I would
So
say,
new
yes, ma'am.
participants.
Yep, I would say they're new participants every year, about probably 60%. I don't have an exact number, sorry.
And that 60% typically coming from outside of Clovis. And how are they hearing about it to come here? What's the best source?
You know, I'll be honest, we use everything we can. There is some magazines and stuff that we have our date in there in our event that go around. We do use social media, of course, for it, and encourage them to, you know, follow our pages and that kind of stuff so they know about our events. A lot of it is, you know, word of mouth of, hey, I went to the show last year, you know, come this year type thing. So it's really hard to say exactly where they're hearing it at, but we get a lot of people from Amarillo, Lubbock. Again, all these car guys, they go to a lot of these shows as well. And so Ruidoso, Amarillo, Lubbock, Santa Rosa, they all have giant car shows. And so they go to those events, and Lloyd is the flyer king when it comes to that. Every person, every car has a flyer so that knows about our event and what to go. And then they go to our Facebook or ask questions online.
So the flyers, so you put out flyers at other events,
Yes, yes, ma'am.
which seems to be successful in getting that out. Is that on here? Or is that something?
It is. That's actually under like zip printing
So
for posters.
that's the
flyers.
1,500 for
Yes, ma'am.
flyers. And
That's
that gets the most of what you're
Yep.
getting.
For new, you know, recruits, again, people that came from other shows, somebody that went to Ruidoso because they've never been there is from insert city here. They go to that show, and there's a kind of a clique of classic car guys. There is. I mean, just like for, you know, Gene's group, there's a different group for Dragon Main guys that do more. They don't want to sit around at a car show. They want to show off their car and then go drive it. So you'll get what we call in our business, in our end, trailer queens sometimes. So guys that have got pristine cars, they're not going to. They haven't touched. Actually, the engine hasn't been started in a long time. They wheel it off, they put it in the park, and then they pick it back up, put it in a trailer. So you get a lot of those very fancy, very expensive cars there.
So one of the things that I think we're going to be up against, and you guys already heard it, because of the limited budget, we're probably not going to be able to give everybody everything
of
they're
course.
asking for. So one of the things that forces, I guess, our requesters is to really evaluate where and how they're spending their dollars to promote or draw and attract those in. So that's something just to consider in how you're spending your money. Where is it best spent? Not telling you what to do, but
Right, of
Just
course.
something that we're all forced to consider because of the
And some when we look
budgetary.
at too, that's the car side of it. We also have to look at the spectator side a little bit too, because it's great to have these beautiful, $150,000, $200,000 cars there. But if we don't promote locally that the event's happening, then people don't know to go to the event. And so it's kind of I understand it's a 50-50 there on weighing out what's best. We've got to get the vehicles here from out of town. We've also got to get the spectators to look at them, because let's face it, if there's a $200,000 car in the park but nobody looks at it, why would I show up? So
For sure, and I'm not suggesting not to to support local, is how we're reaching those people.
Right, absolutely.
And the most effective way
Yes,
to
ma'am.
reach it, so thank you. That's all I have.
I'm good.
I just had one other question too. Last time, so you were funded the 8,000, so how did your event turn out last time with that? Or did you get funding from somewhere else, or how did that work?
No, ma'am. We actually utilized all the funding that was given to us. In addition to the T-shirts and the other stuff that we made, the club itself actually didn't profit any. They lost money last year for the event because, of course, the funding was the way it was, and the cars came in. We had a great turnout. Don't get me wrong. There were still, I think, 130 cars in the park, which, after you put them out in the park, is quite a few cars there. And so we were still able to have that with the funding that was allowed, and we appreciate every dime of that as well. And we continue to like it grow. At one time, the show, it did have over 200 cars, and that was back probably 2015-ish is my guess on that. Again, a lot of things have changed, and some of the old guys just aren't able to do it anymore. But we'd like to, at the 130 mark, we'd like to continue to grow. Hopefully this year, maybe get to the 150 mark and continue on to get back up to our 200, maybe even more.
Good questions. I had a couple.
Yes, sir.
When we're, again, and I think Gail's hinted at it, or not even hinted, right? Gail's told you, that funding is tight. And one of the things we've looked at with Lodgers Tax is that at the 26th event, annual, our funding should be decreasing because it's an established event, and if it's successful, it should roll. But one of my thoughts was you capturing contact information from every applicant, and that so that the marketing is pointed at them. And I know, and even guests, if that, because I know you've got to have both sides. But going forward, right, we are the funding isn't there to fund everybody fully. And it's to capture as much data as you can to be able to contact somebody going forward.
And we do our best on the entrants that actually show up and bring their car. We ask them that question. They filled out questionnaires last year. Are you staying in a hotel? How many nights? And again, that's if they bring them back in. We try to push them for that. You can't, get your reward until you do, type thing. Our problem has always been on the spectator side because it's free and open to the public, and the park's a big place, and you can come in from any direction. There's no directly, a gate to come in through. So the best we've tried on that is to give a guess. I mean, it really is. It's not. I wish we had a better way of doing it, other than trying to put fencing around the entire park for the day, where everybody has to go in one area so you can count them type thing, which would probably be impossible to do. Parks and Rec probably wouldn't like us very well. But, I mean, that's what we run into a little bit right there.
May I interject? Unless you were going to say.
Yeah, I was just going to say, doing a giveaway, put your, put your,
codes.
or QR code, yeah, but, yeah, speak to
Well,
that.
and
Because
other people have brought it up. I'm not sure if it was Kim, but the QR codes, it sounds like it's the way to capture those is by having some type of a kiosk, or welcome center, welcome booth, whatever, where you ask them to go, check in, do the QR code, and for everybody who does the QR code entry and fills this out, they're in a drawing for some whatever prize, so that incentivizes them to do it, and then it gives you the data that you're looking for that helps you and helps us in dedicating the funds. So that's something other people have brought up that sounds like a really good idea, and it sounds easy to do.
Right. Yep. I think it would be something that could be accomplished for this event. Yes, ma'am.
good stuff. Board, any other questions? Thank you both. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Next application, Curry County Event Center, Casey Messick.
All right, good evening. It's fair time, so we are here to request $45,350 for the Curry County Fair. Couple notes here. I know we had, last year at the fair time, this was my first lodger's tax meeting, so I learned a lot since last year. I do have some numbers. So we sent out a survey to all of our vendors. We got some back, not as much participation on the survey as we had liked. But just to give you a few numbers here, we've got 15 food vendors and 6 commercial vendors coming in from out of town, which we will assume that they're going to be staying at a local hotel. Probably. I mean, then that's 6 nights. So you consider Monday through Saturday night, everybody leaves and goes home on Sunday. Load-in is Monday, so they'll come in, stay Monday instead of coming in Tuesday morning. So if you look at that, break that down, you're looking at 126 room nights for vendors, 3 room nights for 4-H judges, 24 room nights for the rodeo producers and staff. So we provide 8 rooms for the Baca Rodeo. That is just for their promoters and staff. That's not considering the contestants. Last year, contestants-wise, they had 123 contestants. They're hoping to build that up to somewhere closer to 150, and that's 2 nights. That's Friday and Saturday night. With all that considered and the 5-room nights that we do for the concerts, you're looking somewhere around, not counting the rodeo participants, 178 room nights. And that's just on the, what I call the production side. That's the vendors, the entertainment, the rodeo staff, and those. We also have 2 staff members coming in from out of town that'll stay 10 nights apiece. So that just gives you kind of some numbers on our end. We're going to utilize some of the QR codes. Some way or another, Tyra, our events manager, got a hold of endless QR codes. So we have more QR codes than we know what to do with. So she's going to, we're going to utilize those. We're going to get those out to try and gather more information. We are also going to use survey. So the new thing, when before the vendors leave, they're going to get their packet for the 2024 Curry County Fair, so they can go ahead and reserve their spot, their food truck spot, their commercial building spot. And with that, we're gonna get a survey from them. Hey, how many nights did you stay? How many nights do you plan to stay next year? That type of deal. Try and gather on our end. It's really tough on the when you've got anywhere from 30,000 to 55,000 people coming through the gate. What percentage of that do we really get to interact with and find out if they're staying in town, if they're eating? So we're going to start with the vendor side, the people that we know that we can get some information from and kind of go from there. We're also bringing in the rodeo, which I mentioned Friday, Saturday, Battle of the Bands on Friday night. 4 out of the 5 bands last year all stayed the night, Friday night, because they were from out of town. We had a band from Colorado. We had a couple from Texas, one from Roswell. So that's going to be an addition that we hope draws some people in, especially from the Texas side. We're getting ready to put the audition out there for them so that we can start narrowing down the bands for that. Thursday night, we're bringing in a Hispanic Heritage Night, which we've got a band that's pretty well known, especially down south, hoping that we can target Roswell. Roswell's been good for advertising for us on the Hispanic end. They're really good about pushing it south and over to El Paso and everywhere else and getting the word out on these Hispanic concerts. So we're hoping that pushes a lot on Thursday from out of town. And then Saturday, we've got a band, Kevin Fowler is coming in from East Texas. Has a big South and East Texas draw, so we're hoping to get some of that draw over here as well. That kind of breaks down the whole nutshell of the Curry County Fair, and we're pushing to get bigger numbers. We're hoping to get it up, 55,000 people, weather permitted. So I will stand for any questions.
Thank you, Casey. Board?
Amazing presentation.
Thanks.
Thank you, Casey.
Like I said, I learned a lot last year.
You took a beating, but you learned. That's the main
Yes, sir.
thing. Yes.
But you paid attention.
I did. I took good notes, and I think we've got. And like I said, I wish we had better ways to grab numbers from those patrons that are coming in and out of the gates. We're going to figure that out. I don't know how accurate it's going to be. It may give us 10% of what we're looking for, but it'll give us something to go off of.
You're on the right track with the QR codes, because just the people coming in, that's an easy thing for them to do.
I'll have to ask her. I don't know. Jeff Lynn helps us out a bunch on the
Endless
marketing.
QR codes,
And
so.
she somehow has everything's got a QR code on it at the office, so I don't know. I just go around scanning them to see what it is. So. Yeah, it's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board? Thanks, Casey. All right, our last application for the evening is the Lions Den Boxing Gym. Liho Siena. Good, thank you.
Good. I'm throwing a 2-day event at the event center called Gloves Up, Guns Down. This will be July 28th and 29th. As of now, we have teams coming from Amarillo, El Paso, Houston, Corpus Christi, Albuquerque, Las Cruces, Hobbs, Roswell. We have 165 boxers that have entered in this tournament. Officials that will be coming down to stay in hotels as well. This event's it's going to be huge. Been boxing my whole life, so this is going to be my 4th show that we're throwing. We kind of outgrew Leroy Walker Community Center, so we're looking for something a little bigger. And I think this is probably going to be one of the biggest boxing events in Clovis. And that's about it.
He was a little afraid to come up here.
Really good.
I used to fight in front of thousands of people, but talking is not my forte.
There's some scary-looking people.
You did great, though.
Yeah, well done, thank you. Board questions?
Yeah, out of those 155 that have already entered, are those from how many local versus out of town?
Out of my boxing team, or me and Nick and Hector's boxing team, we have 16 that are competing, 5 which are military.
So 16 here from
16
Clovis. The
from my
rest
gym.
are from out of town.
Yes.
Logistically, that many fights
Well, I
in
mean,
2 days?
we won't match all 155, maybe 100, 110, which will be 30 to 35 bouts a night. And all these people will bring family and friends, and so it'll be a lot of revenue for the city.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
So of the entrant, you said you already have these folks signed up to do this.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
did you advertise to get those?
I had posted on Facebook, and just people knowing who I am from fighting in the past, they reached out and turned in their lists.
Okay, thank you.
So I was looking over your marketing, and it really, this is starting in a couple weeks. So all your marketing is really geared toward bringing people in, spectators. When's the next meeting? Okay.
It's very short time.
Yeah.
Really is on this. This is the last meeting our favor to get the word out for really and truly just the spectator side of things. He's done a fantastic job of getting the fighters in place for it. Again, if I was in the ring fighting and nobody showed up to watch me fight, I wouldn't be a happy guy probably. You want the people to come out, and of course, that's just going to spread the word there. This is the first time I've worked with this group here, but from the history of what I've been told, it's been at Roy Walker the last few years, and there's standing room only. There's no room left in the building, and they've got to expand, which is a great problem for the city of Clovis to have, for us to, of course, expand our boxing world here as well. So
The last 3 events that we had to turn people away. So we didn't have enough room. So that's why we expanded to the event center.
And how much are your tickets at the door?
$20. And there's a military discount as well, 15.
Per people that came to spectate, you were at capacity at the civic center?
Yes, and that was on Roy Walker.
Oh, Roy Walker, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
and that was promoting for 3 weeks. It wasn't even long. So Clovis is a boxing town. The people are going to show up to watch.
What is the capacity at Roy Walker?
Oof.
Not very big.
I couldn't tell you.
There isn't a max capacity? Oh.
No,
It's just not
If
much.
you put 500 people in there, it's very crowded. And that's exaggerating the number.
absolutely.
Okay.
And because it's a 2-night event, correct? So the fighters or any of them that come in, what time do y'all do a weigh-in also?
We will do weigh-ins, same-day weigh-ins. So these fighters will be coming in Thursday night. So they
All
will
of
be
them,
staying. Yes.
even-
So they will be staying Friday and Saturday.
And what time was weigh-in, you
Since
said?
it's a 2-day, we will have to weigh in Friday and Saturday. So they won't be leaving. They will be staying the night.
And some of the fighters who fight Friday also fight Saturday, or no?
It depends on who we have to match them with. So it's possible.
Dang,
I have no further questions.
thanks, Tosh. Gail,
No, I'm good.
ready, you good?
I'm good.
Good? Juan? Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
presentation.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
You did good.
Thank you.
Just saying that. Don't get beat up.
I was doing this to make him feel more comfortable.
All right. You're welcome to stay. It's an open meeting. We're going to review the applications. We used to review them in order, and yeah, now we might be prioritizing like we did last week, or last meeting. Vicky, do you need to?
See a break?
Yeah. We're okay, right?
I'm okay.
Sorry.
Drinking my water.
All right, what do you want to look
Where's
at?
the pens? Next meeting.
Can you imagine?
Joel, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
See ya.
So, Mr. Holwall, if we allocate evenly, 70,000 roughly?
Correct. If you kept 70,000 for each meeting.
Okay. Boy, we're gonna,
Of course, we do make the adjustments as revenues come in throughout the year, actual versus budgeted.
are there any meetings moving forward? Obviously, there's meetings moving forward since it's our first one of the fiscal year, that we have a decrease in applicants? Is there a slower,
Not that we've noticed.
We got all the same usuals and then new ones.
words out that there's a ton of
Words
money?
out.
The state's got a bunch. All right, so thoughts on where we want to start? Do you want to start with the first and move that way? Do you want to prioritize and look at?
Well, I was thinking one is we could look at some of those that, okay, like the Chamber of Commerce Event Coordinator. That's one we've been doing for years and years and years. We understand and recognize the value of that. So maybe that's an easy one to start with, say, yes, we will continue to fully fund and go from there. Because that's going to take half of approximately
Yeah,
half of
if we
allocated.
stick with it.
Right.
Or we really, stick it to the end of the year, fiscal year. So let's go with the event coordinator. I don't have any, I feel like Kim does a great job. It's an annual. We're getting
I'm okay with
stuff,
that one as
everything.
well.
She
Okay.
does so much.
Thoughts? Steven,
I-
good?
I'm good.
So fully funding the event coordinator position. The second application.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you're at $35,000.
Thank you, Mr. Oval.
Wow.
We're gonna get this, every decision. Hey Siri, what's 35,000 plus? Oops.
Do we want to talk about the fair? I mean, that's another big one, but,
That's a biggie, yeah.
but it's also, it's one that we know the history of. We understand what they're doing. We understand the success of it. KC has put a lot of work into things that he's gonna do to capturing the information as well as drawing in new people. But it is a considerable more amount than what we
Yeah,
allotted in the past.
Can you tell me what was the allocation for the fair last year?
20.
20,000.
Just 20? Oh, couldn't remember that.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, he's showing some good numbers.
that was with 20,000.
Well, it was also following COVID and people were
Eager to
excited to get out and do stuff.
Yes.
And I also feel like this one, if we start looking at, this is an established event. Yeah. My thought was 25, based on, things are getting more expensive,
Right.
but,
Yes, and again, we're all having to
yeah.
be a little more focused on how we're spending the money. Yeah, I get it.
I was there. I tried to be at every event that I can on this, and it was very good. The attendance was very good, especially with the Battle of the Bands. They had, like he said, a lot of people from out of town were participants. I think we had like 2, maybe 3 from local, but the rest were out of towners, and they did bring a group with them. So
Yeah, it's a massive event.
it is a good event. And he did gave us an idea of how many people they're going to be spending the night at hotels. So that's the plus part that we want to hear.
Right. So you're suggesting 25,000?
That was my thought. But again, we're aboard.
I wrote down 30
Okay.
on mine.
Gail, thoughts?
I'm leaning more to the 30, but again, I'm looking at that, and that is.
I know Justin's
Sorry.
Justin's on edge, figuring out what we're gonna
He's
do. He
trying to
doesn't
figure
know
out
whether.
mathematically
Yeah.
what can we
Yeah.
do.
I haven't written down anything.
He's just scribbling. So I would support the 30.
Okay, Freddie?
I support either 25, 30.
I mean, and the whole thing of it is every year it should eventually be able to support itself after so many years or do that, but
I think
things like that, the
Fair's like the
chamber
fireworks.
events, fair,
Gotta have it.
do cost more.
Steven, thoughts?
I'm fine with either or too, so.
30 it is. All right, Justin, where are we at?
What did you decide?
30,000.
That's 65.
Thanks, Justin.
Good.
And he hasn't asked for
He's
the
like, yeah, he's like, carry the one. All right. Yeah, we're gonna blow the budget.
Yeah.
All right,
Have been doing that. So
let's go back to, let's just start at the first one.
Okay.
Since those are out. So CBT Barrel Racing, requesting 10,000. Previously gave 5,000. I had notes from the last one, increased in awards, added more. more classes, more awards. We had some hotel numbers. So one of the things I look at is just number of attendance versus funding requested as a percent. This is like $10 a person to get somebody in the seat, where the fare was 67 cents. You know, other ones are, I think there's one later that's $20 a person, if we look
Right.
at it that way.
And again, expecting that folks will, again, we can't fund it all. So some of these folks are just gonna have to revisit how and what they're spending their money on to see how can they be more effective in their overall spend. I know we did 5,000 last year. What if we did 40 or 4,000? Get them something, but we still have 1, 2, 3, 4 others
Yeah.
to.
I wrote down 5 again, just because I know
five
they
as
put in,
well?
because they increased,
That's what I did.
they're increasing everything.
Okay, looks like most everybody said the 5.
Even 5. All right, we're doing 5,000 again on CBT barrel racing.
70,000.
Thanks,
All right,
Jordan.
Multiple fives would work great.
That's, yeah.
These whole numbers are so easy.
So Clovis Evening Lions Club, like they're $3 a person, and I think we know what they bring. The number of participants, you know, they also are one of those that they fund like, you know, with the proceeds are going to nonprofits, so.
If you wanna take a little off of that, I don't know,
Oh, yeah, the 900 from promotional items.
digital billboard is local.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's not outside the radius.
I don't like billboards.
Well, it's just 25% of it has to be outside. I was thinking 5,000 for Justin's math, but again,
Why did you take away that?
4995.
I would support 5,000.
Yeah, I could do.
I would as well.
all right, Tasha. 5,000. Black Pearl, Boxing Legacy, new applicant. This one was one of the ones that I was looking at, $20 a person to bring somebody in the door.
It's one day.
One day,
One day event, it's a little,
but a new event.
But a new event.
So I again had 5,000 on this one.
do I hear 4, 5?
5 sounds good. 5?
I wrote 6, so.
So I say,
I would support the 5.
yeah, support 5.
I'd go with 5.
Tasha, you good with 5? All right, 5,000. All right, Desert Cruisers, big jump from previously awarded, but again, they were previously asked for more. So they're still asking for the same amount. Last year, we awarded 8,000.
I'd recommend the 8,000 again. They did well with the 8,000, and it sounds like if they were to focus their attention on the more successful of the advertising mediums, that they could probably be more effective with the funds.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote down there was almost 10,000 just in radio.
Yeah, that's a lot of radio.
Which is a lot. So for ultimately a one-day event, I know there's people coming in the night before.
I wrote 10,000 down, because I know they did do off of 8, but their club did go in the negative, trying to support it as well.
But sometimes it's how we're deciding to spend our money too.
Right.
Not necessarily making the best financial decisions. But, what do you guys think?
I'm okay with 8 again. Stephen,
Same as well.
8.
we're gonna mess you up, Justin. 8,000 on Desert Cruisers.
You're at 88.
Whew. All right, Lions Den. My only concern with this one was just the time frame in which they're trying to recruit people.
Right.
Basically just having a week.
Right, very short time frame to,
But I had 5,000, new event for us. But it already sounds like it's successful from a boxer's perspective and a fighting perspective, but to get people in.
I like the easy 5,000 number, huh?
Yeah, I should have waited till the end for the. No, thoughts on,
I have 5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, I support the 5,000. I'm interested to see what they can do with it.
Tasha?
Sounds like it's really popular.
Yeah, I had written down 6 as well. So 6 is my lucky
I would say
number, I
5.
guess.
all right, so we're okay with 5?
I'm good with that.
Another 5 for Lions Den Boxing, and that sums us up.
93.
Jeez.
All right, just start making sure people stay in hotels, even the locals.
Yeah.
Thanks, Casey.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
All right, so, do I have a motion to approve all recommendations?
I approve.
First motion by Stephen. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Gail. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Before ending the meeting, is there anything for the good of the order?
Chairman and members of the board, just to let you guys know that we are also looking at Airbnbs and ordinances that other communities have in regards to Airbnb, because we lose out on lodger's tax. I mean, our hotels are having to pay that particular tax. It is still somebody is renting a room. And so
Good idea.
we are looking at, like I said, other communities' ordinances that they have in regards to Airbnb type facilities. And then there's actually companies that will scrub the internet for you to let you know which where those offerings are located and who the property owners are, so that way we can make sure that everybody is being treated the same. So that's something we're working on.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
And just a reminder for the new guys, they came asking for funding. This is not a done deal. It has to go to the commission for final approval, which is July 20th. And after that, if everybody approves on that, then you can start spending the money. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
There being no further business to discuss, we are adjourned. Thank you again for attending. Juan, good point.
I actually